want to chime in, but I won't. Go ahead.
Actually, the Bush tax cuts, the revenues dropped. The Bush tax cuts.
Actually, they didn't.
Yes, they did. I checked out the website. The revenues dropped.
Respectfully, I disagree. And when we cut taxes in the 80s, when Reagan cut taxes in the 80s, revenues went through the roof. When Kennedy cut taxes in the 60s, revenues went through the roof. When Bush cut, the Bush tax cuts increased government revenues. I'm coming at you.
I'd just like to make a point, and that is I'm tired of the federal government deciding that there are good Americans and there are bad Americans. There are Americans, okay? We're all taxpayers, okay? And the problem isn't that we're not taxed enough. The problem is that we're spending too much. And I have no faith that if you increase taxes, decrease taxes, the spending will stop until, sir, you get to Washington and tell those people how Illinois 8 wants it done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I will say this. Boy, we're getting this last. We may have to schedule a couple more weeks. Yeah. We're getting frisky. I will say this. I'll make just one point, because it's my job tonight to be nice to everybody. I'm going to be nice to everybody. America statistically, over the last 50, 60 years, when we study America compared to other countries, there is less class warfare in this country than any other country. Statistically, low-income Americans don't want wealthy Americans' taxes to go up. Why is that?
They want to be
This is still a country where low-income Americans think, I can be that guy one day, and I don't want to be overtaxed. Compared to the rest of the civilized world, we always score off the charts. Yes, ma'am.
So I just want to say that every American could be that billionaire if they had worked hard, got the education. It's still there for our grassroots. And it's them who are the ones who are giving back, not by government way, but by their own way. And if you do your little research, you would see how much those billionaires give and spread out their money when the government don't take it. But every American in this room can be a billionaire if you sit down and find out and work hard enough to do it.
Thank you. Let's if you want, feel free to throw some out on another issue. Let's hop around, guys. We've only got another 3 hours. Let's. I thought we were going to 10:30. Yes, sir.
Me. My name is Tony Bennett, and my question to you.
Tony Bennett. Yes,
You've repeatedly said from day one in the primary that you wouldn't take the benefits that Congress gets.
Yes.
You've verbalized it, you've spewed it, and you spewed it, and tonight you even spewed it again.
And let me tell you something, Tony.
Yes.
About a week ago, I filled out that paperwork.
Thank you.
And believe me, it got difficult.
I was wondering if you had done that, because I've heard nothing about you putting it in writing.
We'll get word out.
So
We'll get word out.
Okay.
We'll get word out.
Good. Thank you.
And again, let me personalize this for a moment. My wife, my partner in life, has a pre-existing condition. This is going to be difficult for us because men and women in Congress, they get the greatest health care plans in the world. They pass other stuff for us. But just like any normal constituent in this district, we're going to have to struggle and find insurance on our own. So yeah, that's very important to me. Steve.
Joe, I'm going to throw a softball at you.
You never throw a softball at me.
And you said it tonight already, but I want you to repeat it, and I'd like a rationale. In terms of term limits, flash forward 6 years from now.
Yes.
You've been the rising star, meteor across the sky of the Senate.
He doesn't believe that.
For the last 6 years. They take you aside and they say, Joe, I want you to be vice chair of appropriations. Or they take you aside and let me. 6 years have passed and you have a lot of things that you want to accomplish, and in your mind, you haven't achieved those. You still going to drop down in 6 years?
Yeah, but let me be totally honest. There's not a week that goes by that I don't think, I'll be honest with you. It's a tough one. And I wasn't always a term limit guy. I fought American government. I live and breathe this stuff. To me, there shouldn't have to be term limits. You should be able to vote for whoever you want every 2 years. But we know the system enough to know it's so hard to do what I did. The incumbents have the playing field so rigged. So to answer your question, it's something I think about every week, and it does work on me a little bit. But I will never go back on it, because my ultimate philosophy, and you may disagree with me, is this. Call me stupid. I believe I can go to Washington for 6 years, and I can represent this district, and I can come home like our founders envisioned, and I can grab you, and you can go represent this room for 6 years. That's what our founding fathers envisioned. And if it's so tempting to me, and it is to all of us, you go to Washington, and I've seen it. I've been there twice already, and everybody just wants to rub you and scratch you, and oh, you think I could live with this for 20 years? But we have gotten so far away, both parties, from what our founders envisioned. They would be rolling over right now. They did not intend people to go there and make careers out of this. They didn't. And Steve, you know me well enough to know this is a hard one for me. Because there's a part of me that could go there for 30 years and I want to do such good. But if we need a few of us to lead by example, I'll come home and I'll work for you, and we'll... Mr. Weber.
A lot of people heard this year that I think the numbers were 51% of Americans do not pay federal income tax. Does that work? I think we all enjoy the same benefits offered by government, the military, schools, you name it. But yet when people vote, and a lot of people feel free to vote to raise taxes or for programs because it doesn't affect them. How is it fair to have a system, and what can we do about it to where we do make it to where it does affect everybody? Because if it's not costing you money, then why would you vote for it?
You know, sometime during the summer, there was a woman in her 60s or 70s who put it beautifully to me. I've stolen a lot of lines during this campaign. She said, we've gotten to a point where there are twice as many people in the wagon as there are pushing the wagon, pulling the wagon. And she's right. Look, you've got to pick your poison. And this is a beautiful country, and we all have different viewpoints. But we're at a point right now where you got to look inside and ask yourself a real tough question: how much do I want my government doing? I.e., how much can we afford? We all want the best health care in the world. But the important question is, what do I want my government doing toward that goal? Because that involves a cost. Because right now, too many Americans who are paying taxes are overtaxed. And I would argue, too many people aren't paying taxes. You just got to look at two simple programs, they're not simple. Medicare and Medicaid, set up in the 1960s to be a safety net. I'm not questioning the value of those programs, but they were set up to be a safety net. Fast forward 40 years, look at how far away we've gotten from that. They are now middle-class entitlements. And folks, I'm telling you, the most immediate thing that's going to happen with Obamacare these next 2 to 3 years is basically half of the people that are going to get coverage are going to be pushed onto Medicaid. You think states are in trouble right now? Don't even think about what Medicaid's going to do. So Tom, to answer your question, it's a tough one. It's a spending problem. We've got to cut spending. I don't want to, because I do want to cut taxes. For people who are paying taxes right now, I want to cut their taxes. Do I think we've increased the pool too much? People who are not paying taxes? I always want government to take care of those who can't take care of themselves. But that pool's gotten way too big. There are too many people now.
The question would be, would you support a flat tax across the board?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So we all...
I prefer that over a fair tax. Yes, sir.
Well, on the subject of the wagon and the safety net, I have 2 children with autism,
Say that, I'm sorry, say
I
that.
have 2 children with autism. One will most likely never be independent, and while I'm trying to arrange my finances so that he's well taken care of, you know, if he has a long life, he's going to outlive those funds. So I'd like to expand on how do we keep a safety net in place so that my son, my children are going to be protected with a small family and limited funds. They have a lot like that.
Yeah. Because we've got government doing so much, we're at the point where they're not able to care for the people who need to be cared for. And so we've got to ratchet down government and get it back to, and I know a pipe dream, but it's going to take some time, but get it back to where it's caring for those who need help. We've got to get Medicaid and Medicare back to helping those who can't take care of themselves. All the rest of us should be in a competitive private insurance marketplace. We've got to get government off the backs of private insurance. A lot of you disagree with me on that one. But I think if we had a more competitive marketplace in the private insurance industry, you'd see, and if government insurance right now is so regulated, so there'd be a number of insurance companies that would spring up and serve particular situations and people who need help.